know how I do.
Let's get cracking!
Welcome everybody here to another day of the D2CL, going into our second day of play, and we have two great teams coming your way. We saw one of these teams play up yesterday, up against Na'Vi in what was a very spectacular matchup series. We have the Alliance coming in, being, well, I'd say captain, but at least drafted by their new player from Hon, Chessie, and of course, it is a bit of a grudge match tonight, because a man who was replaced by Misery is actually in the opposing team. EGM playing on the side of Team Tinkerino, so let's get ourselves into the game and get this party started again. Just like last night, I am joined by the expert analysis of the manager of, I'd say manager, sorry, coach of Cloud9, and that is Clairvoyance, man. Welcome back to the broadcast.
Welcome back indeed. Thank you for having me as always, Toby. And just as you touched upon it, EGM going up against his older lineup. Another grudge match we see here today, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of these in the coming weeks. For the time being, of course, because all the TI roster shuffles are still going on and more or less completed, but we don't exactly know the results until time decides to unfold and unravel the mysteries.
Yeah.
So now Alliance banning out the Wisp and the Lycan, fairly standard, although Lycan is usually more of a second pick span type of thing. They decide to take it out instead. Team Marino Tinkerino not playing against the Alliance Earthshaker, somewhat understandable, although I'm not too sure who their ES player is. I do believe it is Misery. And taking out the Death Prophet, which has been just getting a mention all around, everywhere. So no real surprises there.
I know we were flagging her as like the new combo with the Faceless Void.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, he gets through the pool, Viper gets through the pool, Razor gets through the pool. It's the three deadly amigos.
Wow, they're not picking Skyrath.
No.
Boy, they're actually picking the Panda Furion. This is once again the other combo that was used at TI. Newbie in particular used this a lot. The usual follow-up to this is actually either an Enigma or a Morphling on the Dire side. And I wouldn't be surprised if Team Marino Tinkerino, after losing to an Enigma in the way they did yesterday, you know, to one black hole that sealed the fate of the game, might decide to look for it themselves today.
It would be cool if they did. I almost forgot. I can't believe actually I'm going to say this, but I almost forgot about that black hole from yesterday.
Don't worry, dude. It's history, man. What can I say? It was one black hole, and one is all they needed that game. Apparently, always want to fly, just finding the right moment, right on top of the Raxus too. Like,
yeah.
How often do you see a black hole that's just like
well,
half the size?
A four-man black hole, which is almost next to the tier 4 towers of your enemy. Yeah, it doesn't really happen that often.
No, it really doesn't. Yeah.
But that was we had some very unique games yesterday. Some very unique games. I think we got really lucky yesterday. We got really lucky yesterday. I hope we get as lucky today. But it was just the fact like the momentum swinging, the drafts were so good. There was sure some overextension, which you can class as some sloppy play, but at the same time that made the games even more interesting. Like,
yeah, it did.
Something good makes something good. Something bad makes something good is what happened yesterday.
Well, Toby, as they say, two negatives make a positive. Although I wouldn't go so far to call them negatives, but in the end, it's not too easy to work with brand new rosters, and we have to consider and put ourselves in their shoes for the moment and say, yeah, these guys are still in experimental phase, and they will be for a very long time from this point on. As a matter of fact, as long as the game still keeps releasing new patches, new heroes, and new ideas come forth by new players, everybody's in experimental stages until TI, where even then you could argue the same thing, but that's where everything matters, so can't really say too much.
It matters before TI, I remember, man. I always beat that drum, like, things matter outside of TI. You kind of say, oh, TI4, that's all, oh, TI5 now, is all, it's like, that's my life, It's like, no, your life happens outside of TI.
Every splitting moment, right, Toby?
Exactly. Live your life like tomorrow is the last day. Like, that's it. Do that. That's it. That's what you need to do, people. You play for the now.
True. Now, they did pick up the Skywrath Mage, which is one of the known counters to the Brewmaster. Of course, that silence, long range, especially at nighttime, it just comes out of fog out of nowhere, and this Brewmaster who wants to ulti so badly can't get it off. Although it kind of works back and forth as well, like the Ember Spirit, if the Brew does get the jump on the Skywrath or the team fight begins, and he gets his ultimate off, then Skywrath is relatively useless. The Rasta and the Priestess of the Moon banouts, that's no real surprise. Team Marino Tinkerino is known to play both. And the Centaur and Tidehunter is similar as well. Razor Tidehunter is a very well-known combo. And Centaur overall is just a really powerful hero right now as well. And I'm sure it's going to get slowly moved into the first pick stages. But right now, Team Marino Tinkerino picking up the Luna instead of one of the other heroes that I personally thought they were going to take up.
Which was the Enigma?
Let's see. Yeah. Or the Morphling, of course, the Lich Morphling. But they didn't have success with it yesterday. That might actually be one of the reasons why. It's actually a TI winning lineup if they pick Lich Morphling because, you know, it's a newbie one with it. But looks like they're going to offer the Luna option instead. Yeah. And Bad Rider is now the return from Alliance.
It looks like we've got elements of, like, there's a little bit of split push, but there's a lot of, like, raw pushing power coming out from the lineup, which probably means, like, the early top towers are going to be a focus of theirs. They had 2 more supports to pick up, so the SD's being picked up just because of the Bat Rider. I'm still with you for the Enigma, and if it's not an Enigma, actually grabbing something else from the jungle. I don't know if you really want to go into a commitment of like an Enchantress or something like that to try and force out these early towers, but it does feel like there's meant to be a little bit more chaos being made, because you have Nature's Prophet's army of trees to help push with the Luna. You still need a little bit more raw damage into the tower, so maybe even the Leshrac combo could be done. But the Brewmaster is meant to be the, alright, I have Arcane Boots and I have Split. If you want to come into us in the early stages of the game, go ahead and do so, and they'll count on the Chaos factor to win it for him.
Very, very interesting now. Looking forward to seeing what Alliance will pick up here. They certainly could still pick up the Void as a safe lane alternative, but that would kind of make their lanes a bit more questionable. Vengeful Spirit is the pickup now to work in conjunction with the Skywrath Mage, and it's understandably okay for now, but I still think that Team Marino Tinkerino's lineup right now is actually looking very powerful. One of the reasons being is they have all these heroes that can commit to the lanes, and it's kind of similar to Navi, except I don't have a Lycan this time, it's a Razor. So while the Razor can guarantee like a couple levels for himself and a couple bit of CS, extra CS on top of the enemy that he's laning against, Team Marino Tinkerino's lane presence after like the first 5 minutes or so becomes so scary against the nighttime Luna and this TP Nature's Prophet that I'm not too sure how much Alliance can actually do.
See, I'm sitting on the other side thinking that Alliance actually have the upper hand in the early game. I know that's really like weird to think about when you do look at the lineup of Team Marino Tinkerino, but the fact with just the Skywrath and the VS, the potential for killing like anywhere, like if these guys are smoking and rotating, which I'm fairly certain that Arcane Mystery will hold hands in the cover of smoke to do so, like they're going to find a lot of openings. And can the Batrider really be shut down by Luna and SD? It is actually the Leshrac combo, so if the combination does land there from Team Marino Tinkerino, they have a chance of killing off that Batrider, but at the same time, a quick rotation into that middle lane is going to be the death of Sing Sing. We actually saw him being focused down in yesterday's games as well.
Heavily, yeah, for sure. And
I'm fairly certain that Alliance is going to be doing that again too, because like it's his Brewmaster. I think like you know how strong Sing Sing is on his Brewmaster. He loves that hero to death, but if you shut him down early on and he can't get that quick transition into a Blink Dagger, then his timing is either going to be off to be there for the push from Team Marino Tinkerino. Like, he'll go for a split, but he may not even get it off. I'm also wondering, too, what the last pickup from Alliance will be here, is if they want to go for, like, a safe lane Doombringer and push the Razor in towards the mid. Because right now, they've got only one silence up against the Brewmaster, or they rely on the Lasso and the Magic Missile to make sure he doesn't get that split off.
That's actually a very brilliant call, I think. If they pick Doombringer, that lineup would be super duper strong going to the mid game as well. Now, one of the things about the Tinkerino early game is that, yeah, just as you said, the Skywrath VS, we've seen this before, and something similar in line of what Navi usually pick with the Skywrath, Batrider plus one support that can roam. It was VS yesterday, and there it is, the Doombringer, man. This lineup is actually looking super scary now because what they needed was a safe lane that can not only fight up against the Luna in the team fights, but also offer enough presence that doesn't get ganked up by a Shadow Demon and a Leshrac. So these heroes can't walk around and either try to sap more than they could in the safe lane or in the enemy safe lane while the Furion is gone, or the Furion in general can just stay inside the lane and combat against the safe lane when their supports are roaming. That pick is just perfect here, and the fact that Doombringer got to the last pick here means that Team Marino, Tinkerino, they had to be prepared for this.
Well, I think they're actually more scared. Like, their 5th ban out was the Weaver. Like, they took out the Weaver thinking, okay, we like a whole lot of control. We don't actually have a lot of that. And that's actually going to completely screw them up when you think about it. Like, the Brewmaster can come in and throw his stuff around, but at the same time, the early game presence for killing, like, you got a Mini Stun from Lucent Beam, you got Sprout from Nature's Prophet, but the rest of it is still just Disruption set up into Split Earth. That's all you've really got coming out from Team Tinkerino. And the concern I would then have is, you got a hero like a Razor, who is known for being very tanky, a Doombringer, who is known for being really difficult to kill early on, because with high movement speed and base regeneration, he's difficult to kill then. He gets quick levels after he gets his minus up 2, and then becomes a huge tank in the mid game. I'm considering right now that TT may not have enough damage. Even with the Luna, they may not actually have enough damage to fight up against Alliance. Taking tier 1 towers is all great and merry, but going beyond that, that's where I think Team Tinker is going to find themselves on a bit of a hurdle.
Yeah, well, once again, my biggest concern was the Leshrac pick. I really liked their first 4 picks, but it looks like Team Marino, Tinkerino is actually doing something new. Not something that they're accustomed to. They've been doing a lot more of the pushing and kind of split pushing style with a lot of Death Prophet picks, and they have been picking the Furion for Koifa, which has had relative success up until last night. And now this time, they're going to try this aggressive thing again, which kind of seemed like it could work against Empire, but Empire just reacted so well with the Enigma getting all the farm that he needed in the early stages. And their lanes weren't really shut down because they were exchanging so much kills to the point where it was insufficient for them as they were committing so much movement into the enemy side of the map. So we'll see how things go this time. Looks like both teams have similar ideas in terms of walking around the map and ganking up enemy cores.
The battle begins.
Let's actually just run through our lane so we get ourselves a little bit of a grounding perspective for this. So it will be a Doombringer off lane, going to be played by Loader in this game. That puts Chessie, the new boy, on Alliance's lineup into that mid-solo role. Admiral Bulldog will get the safe lane bottom lane, and then the rotating ganking coming out from RK as well as Misery. Now, they've already got a ward up, and they've got boots on Misery. RK's the first one coming up the hill, however, and the trees are moving around at the perfect time. I think they just backed up because they thought they got spotted. But it'll be Koifa as the Nature's Prophet up on the top lane. Yeah, the trees are on top of him now. It'll be EGM as the Brewmaster in the middle lane, so it's not going to be Sing Sing's Brew. Normally EGM being playing the off lane as the Brewmaster. Instead, Sing Sing takes up the role as a Luna, and he'll be here on the off lane with Pycat and Bulba supporting him as the Leshrac as well as the SD combo, and that's keeping Admiral Bulldog well back behind his tier 1 tower for the moment.
Yep, so the lanes are beginning to unfold, and both set of supports are looking for the kills, and Koifa has cut himself a nice tree line, or should I say, Alliance has cut themselves a nice tree line, which Koifa has discovered as well. So it looks like that gank attempt is going to fail. In the meantime, Bulba and Pycat looking very, very aggressively for a kill, but this is a Bat Rider, man. He can just skill Firefly and get out of there.
Yep. Notice he's also trying to stay as far to the right as possible, so Bulba can't reach him, and Bulba went no boots, which means the creep wave just gets dragged down. He won't be able to use this tree line for protection again anymore, because he's managed to burn the entire thing. But at the same time, Admiral Bulldog, he's already found 2.5 levels from this. Now, Koifa, he's actually had a mana here. Misery, gonna get the stun. Now actually got Concussive Shot flying. Misery, he's got to get in front of him and buy some time for some more right clicks. Actually, maybe they don't need to. Just the basic attacks will be enough. There it is. First blood goes the way of RK. Disruption from Bulba means the, actually that helps out Misery a little bit until the trees get him on a surround. Misery can't get himself out of this one. Attacks Bulba a little bit. I thought it was a bit of a disaster when he did the disruption because the creep wave lost the aggro to him. But with the tree still there from Koifa, they got the perfect surround.
Yeah, that was a very nice TP by Bulba. It was a shame that it didn't go a little bit earlier because it might have saved the Nature's Prophet. But nevertheless, that was a really, really good TP by Bulba. And now he's solo smoked himself. He's got enough regen to walk around a bit more with the Clarity and the Tangle, healing him up and providing him the mana he needs to do another gank. Looks like ping's coming out by Light Blue, which is Sing Sing, and he wants to get something done, it seems. And Admiral Bulldog in the meantime is pulling the jungle, so this is really, really good timing for Bulldog.
Yep,
but
Bulba.
He's still gonna get spotted out, it seems.
Pycat, he's not there in time. Is he there in time? Oh, with the stun, it just still does manage to latch. To lose a beam, also making sure he has to stay there a little bit longer. Yeah, it really looked like Pycat wasn't going to get there in time.
Honestly though, even with kills like that, Alliance just reacted so well. And
he's
now,
in trouble. Concussive shot, the orb attack, the magic missile as well, pulling out a lot of damage, and they do have enough to bring him down. While on bottom lane, Koifer actually TP'd himself off the top lane. They instantly want to bring down these tier 1 towers, which we always knew was going to be a strength here of TT.
Yeah. This is the power of their early game movements. With the Leshrac on top, he can just drop the Edict with the Treants as well as the Luna buff up, and these towers will go down relatively fast if there are no supports to respawn. Now, the only other problem is, if we look at the CS board, the top 2 right now is Loda on 23, and Chessie at mid with the Razor on 20. Not only that, but these guys, like Chessie for example, he's already got a kill on EGM who's got 4 CS, and Loda on the other hand is having uncontested free farm. That means their levels are going to come in a lot more faster than the side of Team Tinkerino, who's been committing a lot of movements overall to just get objectives like the tower, but haven't been getting much EXP going their way because of the lanes and how they're panning out.
So I would say one of these things though, where Alliance are, like, they're happy with the trade-off.
Exactly, exactly.
Like, you know you're going to lose tier 1 towns at this point of the game, so accept that fact and just get what you can on your course, which currently, apart from the Batrider, they have. But with some nice stacks, maybe Admiral Bulldog could catch up, but actually just checking the jungle, there are no stacks right now. He'll need some help. Looks like help's coming to the top lane. Bulba and Pycat are coming back. Right underneath the observer ward, but under the cover of smoke. They've got to get up the hill before the smoke's going to wear off. And they just made it in time. He has a haste rune right next to him, but it's the top lane where the kill's going to come. And they're going for Loda now. Misery, he's got his stun, and he actually stuns Pycat, but a little bit too late. Pycat got his stun off, and Loda just going to try and TP out. There's no other stuns, and Loda almost away home and hosed. Now, Misery and Chessie have come up here. Plasterfield connects on Pycat with the magic missile stun. One more basic attack to get the kill. Sing Sing with a lucent beam. Misery trapped inside the Sproutless off a wave of terror, while Chessie taking out some damage. Concussive shot. Misery trying to actually fight in the fog of war. Unable to do so. Bulba, defensive destruction for himself. Plasterfield actually going to kill him on the way back in again. The perfect time from Chessie. However, he will still go down, giving a kill over to the Luna, her first of the game.
Yeah, that was really, really huge for Team Tinker. They not only got the levels that they were looking for from all the movement that they forced themselves to miss out EXP on, but also now they apply pressure on the top tower because they have the Bassi ready, the Luna's got treads, and their heroes just rotated in from death or other things, and they have the sufficient regen to push down this tower. And this is so huge objective-wise because now that EGM's level 6, that mid tower is relatively safe. And with the enemy safe lane tower and the enemy top tower gone, mid tower is just standing decoration in the meantime. It'll get taken down very, very soon.
Something tells me Alliance won't let that happen. They've got to get in there and fight a lot earlier than this.
Yeah, but once again, the problem is, like, they have all these single targets, so I'm not too sure how efficiently they can catch out Team Tinker. You know, they have to walk outside, but one of the fears in the draft was that at nighttime, this lineup really, really excels. It peaks, and the power spike is just so hard to deal with, but they're going to go for it
lane,
now.
That was actually a great decision by Bulba. It kept Misery out of the fight, but now in comes Admiral Bulldog right in the back of Pycat. Need a little bit more slow on him. He's down to 10 life points, but they cannot reach him for the last hit. And EGM came in through the sides. He does have split available. But Alliance just showing they want to defend this, and instantly Koifer tries to just force the issue. He can't summon trees, but he just heads to the bottom lane. It's easy experience, and makes Alliance look behind themselves.
Things are really working out for them. Even this Leshrac pickup, which I was so doubtful of, and I guess part of my bias really stems from the fact that I've seen so many Shadow Demon Leshrac combos just not connect. But Team Tinkerino is really, really making it connect. If it's not the TP rotations and the awareness coming out of Bulba, it's Pycat. Just as something so simple as landing your stun is making all the impact in the world right now. And Alliance, realizing that they have to do something in rebuttal, have decided to smoke themselves with their cores. But even Loda, who was having a flaming start, is not even level 6 yet, and now Sing Sing is about to get pursued. Yeah,
he's a long way out of position. Kuri's also coming in. They're going to be careful about this. They may actually go for both of them right now. As Sing Sing, well, he's a guaranteed death. Kuri actually ended up delivering his items in the midst of that battle.
Yeah, you know what? He was actually too far out there. There's no reason for him to cross the river even at nighttime. He has the vision advantage, so he should know that if he's so deep, what's going to happen is there's going to be a smoke gank attempt for sure. And now that lets Loda catch up to his level 6, potentially a Midas that he's going for looking at his gold right now. And although I wouldn't say the game's evened out due to the tremendous advantage of towers, I would say EGM now walking in, he's trying to make something happen, and overall, Alliance are not doing too shabby considering the towers.
Sentry ward, see Sentry ward. They want to get rid of each other's right now. EGM came in with that Invisor and he was looking for like a point-blank initiation. But that Sentry Ward dropped from Alliance the second they saw him trigger it. Not to mention Chessie. Actually, look at his build as well. Another Razor that just doesn't want to get a single point up in Unstable Current. Going for the 4-3-0-0. Yeah.
I mean, no matter how much I've played this hero, I kind of feel like you can never really get a perfect build. It's just one of those heroes where you have to change the builds every game. Sometimes maxing Unstable Current as your first spell is very, very useful. And other times, it's maxing the Plasma Field and just skipping the Unstable Current and getting max Link fast because you're going to get a lot of damage out of it. Sometimes it's good to learn ulti at level 6 as well.
And this game I kind of like his build though for like the 3-point static link. He's now going to get the 1 point up in the Unstable Current. But just seeing what happened to EGM, like EGM was only in that tether for maybe 1.5 seconds. And in the time he managed to run away, he already gave over about 50 points of damage.
Yep. It's very, very powerful against melee heroes. Yeah. So now this Brewmaster who was struggling is looking to... It seemed like he wanted to stack, but he did it too early, so I'm not sure what he was trying to commit to. Regardless, his bottle is empty, but he's pretty close to his Blink Dagger, and I assume that when he gets the Blink, he's going to look for another immediate aggression towards one of the supports, or the Razor, who's kind of just holding himself at the mid lane in a stiff
Admiral Bulldog's in trouble. His Firefly's wearing off. There's your disruption already. He's still getting the gold from farming here, but it's just short of having enough for his Blink Dagger, which means he will die and lose the extra cash, but if there's a rebuttal kill, Bulba, he's on the run. He doesn't have disruption, obviously use it to be aggressive, but the orb damage and concussive shots are going to back themselves up. There's 4 heroes from Team Tinker converging on the Radiant jungle.
A lot of movements coming out, but overall it was still really good for Team Tinker. They not only got the kill, but ended up just securing the ward objective that they wanted inside the enemy jungle for the presence, the potential of that presence. Meanwhile, Alliance had rotated 3 heroes into their own jungle without much gains out of it, and now they've moved themselves mid. But one thing we know about Razor is that although he provides that presence, he can't really push a tower on his own aside from killing the creep wave. So they'll need a little bit more time for their heroes to kick in, and most importantly, they definitely want to gank up a hero or two with their Bad Rider and their Doom before they start committing to pushes.
But if they're going to do that, man, you're going to need a Blink Dagger over on that Bat Rider, even on the Doombringer. You need Loader. Like, it won't take him long because obviously with both Devour as well as Midas, we know how quickly that Doombringer is just able to skyrocket his farm. That's going to be even better too.
Though, Toby, this is huge. They're giving this up for free. This is actually game changing because the fact that they get this tower means that there's so much. Oh, there it is. The defense is coming. There's no way they should be giving up this tower. It's just way too huge right now to lose your safe lane tower.
Yeah, but they still commit. Like, that's still 260, 270 gold worth. Just try and defend that, and I'm fairly certain that RK and Loader feel like they can still get kills up here. Like, Loader's still got this Doom, which he hasn't triggered all game, and he's like injured to do it on somebody, and if a Sing Sing, they got him. In fact, in range, okay, they just use the concussive shot to zone him out, and then Loader gets the last hit in the tower. So he's up to 1600 gold after having Midas and Tranquils, and we're 11 minutes into the game.
That was actually a really nice play by Alliance, and Sing Sing responded appropriately as well, just faking out the Eclipse, saying that if you come on me, one of you might actually die, or possibly 2 of you. And the return potential with the Prophet being off the map is just huge, and considering the fact that Leshrac just TP'd there, you can assume that he was in the vicinity. So it was really, really brilliant for Alliance to just attempt that fake, just to secure that tower. And once again, that tower going down is still really, really big. Supports aren't level 6, so they can't take advantage of that kind of control, but mid lane, yeah, the push is coming, man.
Bulba and EGM are coming in through the rear now. They're going to find Admiral Bulldog. Disruption will go. He's got a blink, but he cannot use it once he's being attacked like that. And he's on the sidelines. The Meg Charge, it did fly in, it did go off as well, but it wasn't enough. And now VS, Misery up in the air, Arcade to the front lines, to level 6, and well, Sing Sing, he's baited Eclipse twice, and now he's going to get doomed up, which means now Sing Sing's in a lot of trouble. That blink from Loader catching TT unawares, so it becomes a 1-for-1 trade-off. Sing Sing still ticking down. He will actually have enough damage from that Doom to actually, is it 10 life points? The final denial out from Koifa. He waited until the last moment. But there's still Sing Sing going to go down. It's a 2-for-1 trade-off, even if one is a denial. But more importantly, this is Alliance taking another tower. Like, they're almost keeping up with the towers up against a lineup with Luna and Prophet and Leshrac.
Yeah, that's huge because Alliance's lineup are definitely going to kick in and become stronger towards the mid-late game stages. Now, Luna's still very powerful at this point in the game, but one thing I have to talk about in terms of players is... I might have to hold that thought. There's a ping coming up. No, it looks like they're just aware of where the wards are, or just scouting out each other. But overall, Sing Sing is not exactly a carry player. and you can kind of see it just by his item choices and how he's moving around the map. His CS is dwindling because he's been forced to TP around all over, and what I imagine is like his teammates are probably telling him what to do or where to move and do what. Like a Luna right now, or a Luna player would be just farming the jungle, and instead of looking to secure objectives with his team, he's just looking to TP in. What they're forcing right now on the side of Team Tinker is okay because Alliance's ultis are down, or for the most part the Doom is down, so they think they're safe. But overall, this Luna's losing out on a lot of farm.
They're trying to get it back right now by going for Roshan, but well, I suppose the upside is Batrider's just used his Firefly, so we can't easily just jump back in there again. The downside is they have no tier 1 tower there. Koiva's trying to go for a trade-off at the same time. He's pushing up this top lane with a catapult behind him. And Roshan's at half-life, but yep, the rest of TT have already backed up. And they're going to wait until someone from Alliance TPs up towards the top lane to defend before they go back in again. But at this point, no one's actually TPing. Alliance are having confidence in their tier 2 tower to hold the line.
Yeah, this Furion play is just brilliant, and this is just one of the advantages of having the Luna Furion together on the lineup, is that most of the time you can force multiple objectives together. These pushing heroes and heroes that offer this 5-man potential always allow Furions to take full advantage of the map, and Koiva doing exactly what he needs to do right now. Once again, they're back into
Admiral
the pit.
Bulldog's watching again.
Yep, he is.
It's Firefly with Napalm, and Bulba's hoping he can catch Bulldog out of position with a Flame Break. Koiva, he's pushed up on top of the hill. He can't TP down. He's stuck up there for the moment, and they know it. Admiral Bulldog knew what he got, but then EGM initiates in. Blinks, clamps, and then splits. Misery swapping Admiral Bulldog out of trouble, but then again with the poison as well as the Eclipse, it melts through Bulba, it melts through Bulldog, it melts through Misery. And even Arcade will die in the middle lane with the following up at the Brewmaster Brewlings. And that is such an easy kill for Roshan now. They got help coming back in again, and DD Rune to be stolen by the Razor, but then Bulba, they'll just go again. The Eye of the Storm's still there, and Loda, he has to try and help his teammate out, and well, with Warstomp, he doesn't have mana for it. He's still short. The Eye of the Storm, not enough damage. The Aegis Immortal is the only thing that will trigger out, and that's over on the Luna. But technically, man, we're looking at Roshan taken by TT. They burn the Aegis, but they get a full team wipe.
Wow. That was so huge. What a huge swing of objectives going in favor of Team Tinker now. They just got the 2 supports for their ultis that they expended. And Loda and Chessie, who decided to linger around the pit, hoping that they can do something in response, was just unable to do anything and ended up forfeiting their lives in exchange for nothing. Team Reno Tinkerino just got 4 kills and Roshan in the span of like 3 minutes, or 2 minutes even. And everything is just going so well for them. I think though that the whole Roshan engagement was just so unprepped for, because as soon as Loda tried to go mid and top just to stop the Furion push and kind of go into the jungle after, what happened was their Roshan attempt was done. They could no longer fight Team Tinker because they have absolutely no vision. Team Tinker shut out all the observer wards and everything else, and Firefly was the only thing they could rely on. And for Bulldog, their initiator, to get initiated upon was absolute disaster for Alliance, so there was no way they could take that fight. But in the end, they did get baited in, and they lost huge amounts for that fight.
Would you almost say the bait in was actually the Prophet getting knocked up on the hill?
Yeah, everything is part of the equation. The Shadow Demon pulling out the wards beforehand, them getting the kills beforehand, and putting that kind of fear into Alliance. Everything. And Team Tinker are actually picking it up once again to a very, very solid standing.
Look at Sing Sing. He got really scared in the top lane, and you see the drums of war sound from the Luna. Like, the second they realized that the rest of Alliance are missing from all the lanes, he triggered the drums and ran straight back past that tier 2 tower. There was no risk to be taken here from Team Reno Tinkerino.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Even EGM has semi-caught up, I would say. His CS is still very, very minimal, but at the same time, he's got the point booster. In this game, all he really, really wants is levels to strengthen up the power of his Primal Spirit split. And yeah, it looks like he's getting that because he's level 11 right now. Not quite 16 yet, but due to all the fights, it was impossible unless you get like 10 kills in a row or something. The most important story is that Alliance, after all those fights, are quite under-leveled despite their early start. And Chessie, who's their mid-Razor player right now, is not even 11 yet. And for this Razor to be crippled in experience is so huge because that presence really does come from the levels and the buff up to the strength.
At the same time, I'm going to sit on the other side of the fence here, man, and say, okay, TT's early pushing power. Like, we expected by this point that they should be pressuring tier 2 towers. Now, they've been able to deal with Alliance during the team fights, but we still know, like, sure, you're under level for the Razor. He needs to find a little bit more. But Arcade's finally online with Mystic Flare. Misery's also found some really decent farm on him as a support. And Loda is getting bigger and bigger as time goes on. He's the highest net worth on the field. We'd expect that from a Midas devouring Doombringer. But there's still a problem which TT have to deal with. And what are you really getting back right now from TT? You got a Luna who's building into what I assume to be a BKB after having that Ogre Club up on herself. Like, she's decent, but the support's having to do a lot of work to make sure she stays alive.
For sure, for sure. She is a very pivotal force here, and her presence means a lot to these pushes, but also, as you said, the Prophet being farmed is really one of the big points. I mean, Misery and Boba, they've all found something, which is all really, really nice. But at the end of the day, if Prophet and Luna have farmed, these fights can still go in their favor, so long as the Batter doesn't catch a critical target.
Like this one,
in which Sing Sing...
He goes Sing Sing, dragging him back. Bulba Disruption took a little bit of time to do that, but it's EGM who gets doomed up on the front lines, and Mystic Flare down to death. Sing Sing still here on the front lines, and I think Alliance might just be happy with the fact of what they got there. The tower will be denied, forcing the issue. Misery's looking for a swap, but if he does, he'll just commit suicide. They got the tower's at least down. They got the Brewmaster dead, so they are at least stopping his transition into bigger items.
I felt like Alliance was... I don't know, Alliance, the way they engage right now seems a little bit odd to me. They've been doing a lot of aggressive moves when they could have just sat back and farmed, similar to yesterday, whereas just now, I'm on the other side of the fence on this one, Toby. I think if Misery actually swapped one of the targets, they would have gotten another kill and either forced out a Brewmaster buyback, or if there was no buyback, with the Prophet ultimate down and just a Shadow Demon to try and hold the tower with the Luna, it would have been another tower push, because they have the presence of the mech, all the armor still coming in, and all these heroes with the auras from the VS and Doombringer, they would still kick in. So I'm not too sure about that move, but they definitely want to take it safe there. And as much as I don't doubt that, I feel like they need to do something drastic because they're still relatively behind from that Roshan fight.
Yeah, I'm still going to hold true to Misery's decision. If he swapped underneath the tier 2 tower, which is basically how far he had to go before he was in range to do the swap, because it's still only, if it was a level 2 swap, I'd go 100% with you. Initiate in, try and force the buyback out, and just try and force the issue a little bit more. But going underneath the tier 2 tower after Doom's already down, after Mystic Flare's already been burnt, and after Eye of the Storm is already halfway through its duration, it would have been just some unnecessary risks, which could have really just turned badly on you. And we're looking at a GG call right now, where Alliance will be sitting back going, you know what, we're going to get the BKB over on the Doombringer. Like, we get this up, and then Doombringer can't be touched during the team fights. And the DPS, which is coming out right now, that's where, like, I'm still got this big question. Is there enough physical DPS coming out from them? Because if you get the Doom off on the Brewmaster, there's not enough control. You don't have your little Fire Brilling doing its little thing. And the Nature's Prophet's building into Necro Books. So it's not physical damage. We're not seeing a Maelstrom build, not seeing a Desolator build here for Koifa. It's that he's still focusing on this pushing kind of power. And it's up to Sing Sing to get the damage out. So he needs to also stay alive. Now, Alliance, Admiral Bulldog, he goes on Bulba. EGM, instantly into the split. The Mystic Flare's also being dropped. Sing Sing gets chipped by the end of that. And Bulba, well, he gets some revenge on Admiral Bulldog. Disruption is up, and he can't get himself away from this one. The 4-stuff was still on cooldown, and they lose both RK as well as Bulldog. Somehow, I don't think they thought there was that many people up on top lane, and they could just get a quick snipe on Bulba.
Actually, I have no idea about that move overall. They have no wards on that side of the map except the one that's watching the top rune, which is, it just doesn't really tell that much intel at this point aside from the rune itself.
Yeah.
They had no vision trying to go into a Luna who potentially had like possibly a BKB flying in at that very moment any time, because she should have had all these items just now or by now from all these fights. But overall, it's just a weird move, going so deep into the jungle, expecting that they can get a fast kill. The Skywrath Badrider combo it's something that's been getting used a lot ever since Navi started picking it religiously. But even then, like, they would have gotten wiped for sure. There's just no map vision at all, so I don't think they had a business being there.
Agreed. Agreed. Well, maybe next time they bring in a little bit more people in there. But at the same time, I suppose we're making space. Feeding kills, not the greatest thing in the world. But making space for the Doombringer as well as, well, for the Razor to catch up to. And Razor's actually almost at a point where he has his own BKB. So with both these heroes having BKB, Alliance,
that is so huge.
They're going to force such, like, bigger things. And the fact that Loda has his BKB, but already has 1,400 gold. I'm also not 100% certain what the hell happened here on bottom lane or when this happened. But we have double Observer Wards smack bang on top of each other. Now, there's your jump in, and they got Koifa. He's got mech available, but the War Stomp coming up from Loda with the Flame Break pushback and caught in the fire and the flames.
Oh man, Alliance are actually going to try to back on this. No, there is no way. Yeah, okay, there we go. There is no way. They just took out the Nature's Prophet, who's like the real push stopper slash burst initiating burst team fight from the Wrath of Nature.
Yep.
And they know he's got the mech. So there is no mech for the next fight until the Nature's Prophet buys back. And right now, the fact that Team Tinker is showing only one hero at the bottom and it's a lonesome Leshrac means that it's probably not a bait. Alliance have 2 wards in the lane at like similar times for I'm not too sure what reason, probably misclick.
Yeah, that's what I assume too.
Overall, that was definitely a tier 2 push right there.
It really just feels like Alliance doesn't have confidence. That must be what it just comes down to. Because you look at these situations, like the VS swap from before, that's more of just a logical VS wants to make a decision not to die. And then you got Alliance who, okay, well they got the BK Beast, but they initiated in, they got a kill on the Prophet, and the only thing they had to use was a lasso. You still have Doom, you still have his BKB, you still have the other 3 heroes that are directly behind him. Sure, you don't have the Razor, but that was part of the plan anyway. That you get a pick off with 4 people. And maybe that's the other way we should be looking at this. Alliance are going, okay, our short-term goal is to get a pick off on the Lunar or the Prophet. We got that, why should we risk more? Go back, farm up some more, until we feel more comfortable that we can get the same trader with more security.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right on that one. I'm gonna have to revise my way of thinking there, because indeed not only was the map dark, but at the same time there's just no risks of backing at this point. As we touched upon earlier, like in the late game, this Doombringer and this Razor will absolutely wreck the team fights against that lineup of Team Tinker, which is mainly focused on disables. So BKB is really the name of the game, and once they get that, they'll be able to take up any sort of fights they want in an advantageous position, which will happen because Team Tinker are looking to aggressively push throughout the entire game, and they will continue to do so in order to secure more objectives. So yeah, you know what, backing was probably the right call. It was 0 risk involved and best move and best returns overall. Now Loda's farming up even more, and he's got 3k gold in his inventory. When he gets his Shivas, his initiation is going to be absolutely monstrous.
I'm still though interested to see how it's going to work for Team Tinker. I was not really too confident about their physical damage. Like, I know the Lunar Aura is such a huge thing, and Sing Sing's presence is now extended by the Aegis, the Immortal, but the fact they killed Roshan as quick as they did, the Medallion of Courage from Pycat obviously really helping out, but they brought him down really quickly, not to mention also level 3 book. That also helped. Oh, yeah. But you do start combining all these things together, you understand just how much damage TT are capable of pumping out. That's if they have everybody still there, though. That's kind of like, that's the big crush situation, isn't it? Like, you got a VS swapping, you got Skywrath Mage slowing people down with Concussive, you've got a Doombringer with Stomp as well as, well, Doom itself, not to mention his high movement speed and their immunity, and then Raze is splitting the fight too. A big guy comes in with an Eye of the Storm and a Plaster Field, you just basically slice the enemy team in half with your Lightning, and they have to split. So I'm wondering if TT can keep their formation during the fight.
Let's see, it's about to happen right now.
Admiral Bulldog reveals them. They forced up themselves away straight away. Concussive shot, Bulba. He gets sent in. The purchaser of Admiral Bulldog, but they're all going through the fire and the flames. Sing Sing. There's a defensive disruption that's actually helping him out a little bit more. That's going to be Skywrath for the Shrike right now, while Loda trapped inside the Sprout. The BKB is there from Ranger. He only got 84 points of damage stolen. The tree doing a perfect body block, holding him in range of Sing Sing, who gets himself a triple kill, while the Brewmaster was over on the side, bringing down the Vengeful Spirit. The man who saw it start off was Admiral Bulldog, the man who also got perched up, and he's the only sole survivor for Alliance.
Yeah, that was a really, really unfortunate fight for Alliance. At this stage in the game, what would happen is whoever got the initiation off would probably be the victor of this fight, because the Brewmaster getting his ulti off is so huge, and at the same time Doom getting his ulti off on a critical target before he casts his spells is equally as huge. And at that point in the map, where both teams are isolated from towers, means that buyback TPs are probably not a good option to abuse, which means that whoever just got the initial kill would end up getting more kills out of a snowball effect and more presence from their heroes. And what ended up happening was Bulldog, who used his Force Staff already to get away, had to use Blink as well, and that means Bad Rider's initiation was out for 10 seconds. So they fought that fight in like a 3v5 situation where Team Tinker chased them down with disruption and set up them fight themselves for a nice fight. And Loda actually doomed up a Leshrac that's already used all of his spells. So overall, they were fighting with basically no ultimates from Bad Rider and Doom, and you can only assume one result out of that.
Yep, and that means fight goes the way of Team Reno Tinkerino.
Exactly.
Hitting 18-10 up on the board, 27 minutes in. They actually pushed their advantage in gold over 10,000 by having that fight. And experience-wise, they actually cranked 12k. So
honestly, that tilt on the graph there, like, that was all the Roshan fight. If that fight didn't go down the way it did, or if at least if Alliance didn't lose any heroes and just the Roshan, this entire game would have a different landscape right now. But as it stands, they slowly lost their advantage, and although they picked up a little bit more, you know, they gave up those 2 critical kills at the enemy jungle. They picked up a profit at the bottom, but didn't push the advantage by not taking risks, and didn't get their own footing it back into this game. And now EGM's looking to pursue out a target, but he knows he can't really solo up the Razor, so he'll back up for the moment. But Team Tinker, they're definitely sitting on a huge advantage right now. And Toby, I'm not too sure what Alliance can actually do. I feel like this is one of those times they have to smoke and look for 2 kills to get back into this game, because as it stands, Koipa is going to push out every single lane.
Well, you're going to get your smoke, but at the same time, TT are jumping in. They can see Sing Sing. He's a little bit further up, but that Observer War is doing some nice work for TT.
Man.
They see them all. But Sing Sing, wow, he's in a long way. EGM, he got the split off in time. Loader, he actually goes again on Pycat with this Doom. While the Eclipse from Sing Sing, he's wanting Admiral Bulldog dead. Arcade, well, he can't do anything to help his teammates. Pycat stood up on top of the cliff, but now the BKB for Loader will wear off, and Koipa was waiting for him perfectly. Holds him in the Sprout, so the rest of the team can come up and beat down this Doombringer. VS tries to stop Loader away, but EGM follows him with a Blink Dagger. Straight into Clap and Drunken Brawler. Skywrath Mage also, he's actually almost dying to just the catapult there. Back up towards the high ground with 91 life points. And there's 3 heroes still alive for Alliance. Chessie, though, probably not going to survive much longer. Poison, 3 stacks, and the Lunar Lucent Beam kills him off. So you've got Koipa with a huge army of Necro units pushing down the tier 3 tower on the top, and the rest of TT are coming in the middle lane. And all you got is a VS and a Skywrath Mage to defend. It's GG well played for game 1.
Yeah. Simply put, Toby, you know your game is in trouble when your Doombringer, who's the #1 position hero on your team with biggest farm priority, has to commit his biggest spell on an enemy support hero just to stay inside the fight. That's when you know things are not going well for you, and there's probably a limited chance on the comeback potential.
Well, man, we're going to wrap up our game right now for game number 1, but we're back for game number 2 in a moment. It's our last game of the D2CL evening. Of course, we've got more Dota 2 coming your way. Team Reno Tinkerino have themselves a doubleheader. They're playing in the ESL 1 New York qualifiers next, up against Moscow 5. You'll find the details for that live stream over on joindota.com. It'll be on Joindota Red for your viewing pleasure too. So in the meantime, grab yourself a beverage and we'll be back here for game number 2 in just a moment.